It used to make me so angry. Why am I paying all these people a lot of money? Why do I have to hold everybody's hand all the time? It used to really get to me. As a business owner, no one's ever going to be as passionate about the business as you are. No one's going to understand the pressure that you're putting yourself under. You've got to be able to lead by example, and you've got to be able to adapt. Like, that's probably the biggest thing I've learned when it comes to leadership. G'day guys, welcome back to another podcast in the shed this afternoon. We are up for another cracking episode. Another solo one today, and this one is all about you can't change people, so don't get frustrated by them. Look, this is a hot topic that's been coming up quite a bit lately. A few people have reached out to me on socials about it, and my wife and I have actually had a few conversations about it with, I guess, just with all the wet weather and what's been happening across a couple of our businesses over the last 6 months. So I just want to talk you through everything I talk about on this podcast is I live and breathe it. I love it. And I like sharing my stories, because if my stories can help other people change their life, be successful, realize that they're not the only one dealing with something, then I'll continue to put this podcast out. So the reason I wanted to talk about you can't change people, so don't get frustrated by it, is one of the things that for a long time used to put my stress levels through the roof, and I would literally just be fuming all day, every day, was because I'd turn up to my job sites and I can turn up to a job site and within 5 minutes, but like honestly, it'd probably be 5 seconds, I can look around and I can see things not getting done the way I would like them done, people being very inefficient, rubbish, something not being done the way I've told someone to do it, like all these things. And it used to make me so angry. And a lot of the time I'd be like, well, why am I paying all these people a lot of money? Like, why am I paying lead carpenters? Why am I paying a supervisor to be here and oversee all this? Why am I paying a contractor? Like, why do I have to hold everybody's hand all the time? And it used to really get to me, and it would make me very frustrated. There'd be a lot of yelling on my job sites, and then all that would just make everything worse, because then the people that I was yelling at would get frustrated, and then it wouldn't get done any better. If anything, it'd get done slower and worse. And it was just a horrible cycle that would happen quite regularly. And it's only really been in the last few months, well, actually, I've started really getting a lot better at this for a couple of years, but in the last couple of months, I've just sort of had this, I don't know if epiphany is a word, I don't even know if I've ever used that word in my life, but anyway. But we're all different. And over the last 4 or 5 years, since I've been doing a lot of personal development, understanding my persona, my personality, doing DISC profiles multiple times for myself, my team, other people in my business, even Camille and I have done DISC profiles, but just getting a better understanding of other people and how other people operate has really made me just step back and calm down and not get as frustrated when I turn up to sites and stuff's not being done. And I think the reality is that as a business owner, like it's few and far between. Like no one's ever going to be as passionate about the business as you are. No one's going to understand the pressure that you're putting yourself under. And I can give you a few examples of this. Like, I've got a real example going on with this at the moment. I'm putting extra pressure on myself, and because of everything that I'm working on, and then that flows through to just making sure, or trying to make sure, that everything's flowing like clockwork. And reality is it's never, ever going to all flow like clockwork. And so like at the moment, I've got, in one of my businesses, I've got quite a big situation going on that we're working through. One of our other businesses, we're going through quite a few changes. We're bringing in new staff. We're changing things up a little bit. My personal brand, Level Up, we've got a lot of stuff going on with. We're still sort of wrapping up from the big event that we did. We're tossing up whether we do another one next year. My building business has, like right at the moment, just over $13 million worth of work on. They're all quite big projects. And there's just a lot going on. On top of that, my wife and I have got multiple contracts on different developments and properties, and like we're trying to sell properties, we're trying to buy properties, we've got properties we've got DAs in getting done for, we've got properties we're waiting on building approval for. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And one job in particular at the moment, it's one of the most complicated slabs we've done in a very long time. And it's got suspended concrete, rooftop gardens, it's got exposed detailed block work. There's not a right angle in the whole job. It's quite a complicated slab. It's got a huge amount of steel in it. And then because we've got so much work on, like our guys are spread pretty thin. And with how busy the industry is, like, we've already rebooked and rescheduled this slab once. And like, if you're a builder or a concrete out there, you'd know what I'm talking about. Like, you've literally got to book concrete 4 to 6 weeks in advance. You've got to book pumps, you've got to book concreters. Like, there's so many things that go on. And for an outsider that's sitting back, or not even an outsider, but like for the guys on site, the ones that, like, the guys that just turn up, do their job every day, they're just there to do their task, they have no idea or understanding of everything else that's happening behind the scenes. And like, that's become pretty evident from a few of our team members by some of the questions that they ask. But they just, like, a lot of, and this is across the industry, like, there's a lot of people that just turn up. It doesn't matter what trade they are, but they turn up every day and they're only thinking about their task. And something I've come to realize is that's fine. Like, that's completely fine. Like, they don't have to know everything that happens behind the scenes. They don't have to know what happens if that doesn't happen. Like, it's not their job, and they're just quite happy to come to work every day, do their task, and leave it at that. And I quite often was getting caught up and just thinking, like, why don't you care? Like, where's the urgency? Why are you not getting stuck into this? Like, do you understand how much, like, what the possible cost implications are, and what the delays are, and how the client's going to feel if this doesn't happen? And that's why I've come to realize, like, it doesn't, you can't get frustrated about other people on job sites or other contractors, because we're all different. And even though I might have everything on my radar, everything that's going on in all my businesses and all these moving parts, and even if it's not that, even if it's just I'm talking like the one job, it's not up to the plumber and the electrician or even my own team on site to understand everything else that's happening next week, the week after, 1 month down the track on that job. And so I've learned just to take a deep breath and step back and just give the people the information they need to complete their job, to do it well, and to help you achieve the tasks that you're trying to complete. So on this one particular big job we've got at the moment, I talked to my supervisor about a lot of things. Like, he has to have his head over everything. He has to know worst case scenario, what happens if we don't make deadlines, and he has to be talking to all the other trades, thinking ahead and all that sort of thing. But the carpenters and the apprentices on site, we just need to make sure that we're giving them very clear instructions day to day on what they need to be done so that we all meet the end goal. And same with the form workers. Like, we've got the form workers on that job. So They don't need to know what my team are doing, what the plumber's doing, and when a crane's coming and all that sort of thing. We just need to make sure that we're very clear and precise. We have a conversation with them and we talk to them about how long do they think they're going to take? When do they think they're going to have this ready? And then talk to them about, all right, well, are you confident in that? Because if you're confident in that, we're going to book the steel fixer for the day after that to come in, and he's going to start doing his first layer of steel. That means you can go away to another job for 2 or 3 days. We'll get him to get all his first layer in, and then that's it. Leave it at that. And then so he just knows he's got to come back in 3 days' time. We don't have to tell him that once the steel fixer's got the first layer down, we've got the plumber coming in to do all of his pipe work, and then once he's been, we've got the electrician coming in to do all these conduits, and then once they've done all their conduits, my team's going to come through and they're going to frame up all the rebates in the slab, and then once that's done, we're going to get the steel fixer to put the second layer of steel in, and then once that's done, we're going to pull some lines and make sure everything's sweet, and then once that's done, the steel fixer's going to do all these upturned beams, and then once that's done, you can come back. And for a long time, I think I was trying to give everybody too much detail, which was leading to a lot of frustration because I thought they didn't care, but I was giving them information that they didn't need. And so one thing I can't stress enough is if you want to be efficient on your job sites, if you want to achieve goals, then you've got to make sure each individual has the right information. You're very clear on expectations. And if you have to, you draw things like I was taught I called them storybooks, whereas now every one of our jobs has got detailed whiteboards, and like ask people like if they're unsure, like if they're not clear, or even if you're hesitant for a minute, if you think that they're not quite getting what you're telling them, go to the whiteboard. If you haven't got a whiteboard on site, grab a bit of cardboard, grab a offcut of ply or something, but write it down. And just by writing things down has allowed us in my building business to eliminate, or probably mitigate's a better word. I think as builders, a lot of what we do is we're always mitigating. We're mitigating delays, we're mitigating problems, and always trying to come up with solutions. So give the right people the right information. Don't overload them with too much information. And I think as builders, if you're a builder listening to this podcast, you've got to make the time to show up when you're needed. So you might not have to be there every single day, but a lot of builders, I personally believe these days, feel that they can just rely on their trades too much and think that they can run a building business from the office or from driving around their truck. And that's fine if you're doing very simple, straightforward work. But if you want to do quality work, you want to produce quality results, then you need to make sure you're on your sites at crucial times to make sure that every contractor understands exactly, like you set expectations and you give everybody the opportunity to give you feedback and work together to make sure you achieve the outcome that you're wanting to achieve. And on my projects, even today, I've just been out on this big slab that we're doing. It's a crucial point. Like we're pouring that slab in 3 days' time. Today was a crucial point. Like we're sort of 2/3 through the prep, and I knew that I had to get to that job today to just get an overview of it, to talk to everybody on site, talk to the supervisor, get clarity around the schedule, make sure everybody's on track, completing their task. And look, it was like, luckily I went out to that site. Like everyone was so head down, bum up, getting shit done. Having a set of fresh eyes, just walk around the job and pick some things up was very valuable, because there was a lot of spots where the steel was too close to the ground. The chairs had sunk down. We've had a lot of rain. There was some steel touching some brick and block work that shouldn't have been. So I was on site for 2 hours, but I was able to go around, talk to each individual, set new expectations around what I wanted, show them what I was unhappy with and how I wanted it resolved. And then for an hour, I actually worked with them and helped some of the younger guys understand why I was picking on the things I was picking on. and why I wanted it done a certain way. I think it's really important to realize, like, you can't get frustrated by other people just thinking that they don't care or they're not interested, because we're all very, very different. And I think as a business owner, it's our responsibility. To be a good leader, you've got to show up all the time. You've got to be able to be very clear with people. You've got to be able to lead by example, and you've got to be able to adapt. Like, that's probably the biggest thing I've learned when it comes to leadership in the last couple of years is a leader has to be able to adapt to every single different type of personality, persona. You need to listen to people. You've got to be able to communicate very well. But even the way you communicate with people changes depending on the type of person they are. And I feel like it's a reason why our industry has so many problems, because everyone, like, I know I did this for a long time. I see the older guys in my team. I have to pull them up on it now. They've definitely got a lot better. But I see so many contractors doing this as well. And that is treating everybody in your team the way you were treated. And I've learnt now that that's not going to get you anywhere. The way that, whether you were taught 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, the world's changing. And it's funny, like, we recorded a podcast a couple of weeks ago with an old bricklayer, absolute cracker of a guy, real character. And he pointed out really well, like, he's been a brickie for 43 years or 42 years. And he was saying, like, he's literally, like, every 10 years things change. So he's seen 4 lots of changes. And it really highlighted to me, like, he's 100% correct. Like, I've been in the industry nearly 29 years now. So yeah, I've experienced 3 lots of generations, I guess. And we're all very, very different. We can't be teaching, like, we can't get frustrated at our apprentices because of how they're doing things, what they're doing, how they're learning, because they're very, very different people to what we were when we were taught. Doesn't matter whether it's 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it's a different world now. It's faster paced. Everybody's onto technology. Love it or hate it, everybody's on their phones. And so we need to learn to adapt to that. And we need to teach things very differently. And something I've seen happening in my team is the more that I encourage people to be themselves and to step up and make us aware if something's not right or they're not comfortable or they didn't quite understand things, that's flowing through the whole team. And even the older guys like myself that were taught, like, man, like, run around the site, like, literally get shit thrown at you, get kicked up the ass if you fuck something up or did something wrong. We cannot do that anymore. And we shouldn't do that. So we're seeing a lot of growth in our team by just being vulnerable, having open conversations, getting the team involved. Like, I make sure every time I turn up to my job sites, before I leave, we have a quick team discussions. Or sometimes it's quick, sometimes it might be 5-10 minutes, other times it could be half an hour. But just having those conversations, checking in on everybody, asking everybody if they've got any questions, got any problems, asking everybody are they happy with what's going on, asking if they've got any feedback on what's happening on site, on the schedule, what the work they've been doing. Doing that on a regular basis is huge. And I feel by doing that, the more often you do that and make that a standard part of your site visits, the more your team will see that you're a good leader. But the less chance there is of you getting constantly frustrated all the time that shit on site's not what you expect it to be. And one thing I get told from a lot of members in my Live Life Build business is the biggest struggle for a lot of builders or business owners. It doesn't matter whether you're a builder or a tradie, is when your business gets to that point where it's big enough that you need to step away, you need to spend time doing administration work and taking that step back from site. And look, I feel you. I still get that sort of situation myself. I'm having that on that big slab I'm doing at the moment where I'm like, fuck, I got so much shit to do. I got meetings to have. I got shit to organise. Like, I can't be here all the time. But it's a big slab. It's a complicated slab. Like, I want to be there. I want to be checking everything. Like, and all I'm thinking all the time is like, is this going to be right? Are they going to pull it off? Is it going to be ready on time? And in my head, I'm thinking like, fuck, if this isn't ready and we don't get this clean and we've got it, like, we can't delay it. We won't get concrete again. Well, it'll cost us 3 weeks. Like, there's a lot happening, but you can't let yourself get into that situation. So I've just really come to understand that I can't get frustrated by how other people are, because we're all different, and I can't force people to learn like me. I don't want people to learn like me. The reason we're a team and the reason we get so much done and the reason we work well together is because everybody's different. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. And really, as the leader of the team, it's up to me to work with the team to gel all those strengths and weaknesses together and figure out who's good at what, who gets anxious about something, who doesn't like doing a particular task, why they don't like doing that task, all those things. Like, the more you can figure that out with your team, the better your work environment's going to be, the more work you're going to get done, productivity, efficiency, all that stuff will improve, because you won't just be turning up to site all the time, going off and complaining about why shit's not getting done and why it's not happening the way you want it to happen. So, guys, look, I think this is a topic that needs to be discussed more. Like, I feel like there's so much frustration out there because we all expect a lot from everybody, but we have no idea and we don't understand who they are, how they operate, what type of personality they are, and people aren't putting the effort into it. I personally believe that every single person should be made to a DISC profile, and DISC profiling is something that has helped me out incredibly with understanding myself, with my relationship with my kids, with Camille and I, and with my team. So stop getting frustrated in the people around you, because you can't change them. But what you can do is learn about yourself and learn about them. Go and check it out. Check out what a DISC profile is. And look, guys, if you've got questions, reach out to us. If there's something in particular you want us to talk about on this podcast, let me know. But look, as usual, I hope you got a lot of value out of this podcast. You might be sitting there thinking you're the only one out there in the industry that gets frustrated about people that work for you or contractors or whatever. But believe me, you're not. Anybody that employs people or has a business deals with this every single day. So, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things that you have to do to make this podcast successful. We really appreciate everybody listening. And look, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.